What's up, guys? Welcome to the Josh Monolis podcast. I have a very special guest here, George Rice, today. But before we get into the podcast, we're going to go to our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, I don't know if you knew this, but you can actually start solar with nothing up front, nothing down. My name's Johnny Garza. I'm with the McAllen Valley Roofing and Solar LLC. I'm the acting solar specialist here, and I'm here to make you aware of the incentives that we have. To give you an example, I had a customer come in and they wanted a roof. The roof was going to cost $12,000 to $14,000. And I offered them the choice of going solar. They said they were thinking about it, they just didn't know how to go about it. Said simply just give me your light bill and I'll go off of the usage that you've been using already in your home so I can make the system big enough to sustain your home. I also told them that I can include the roof. They wouldn't have to give me anything down. They can keep the money in the bank and I could finance it all together. Payment was literally the same or a little bit more than what they were paying for light. We have a 30-year warranty on the system and the marksmanship of the installation. So the sustainability of the system, if anything happens, for example, if we go on the roof and we damage a roof, our warranty covers that repair. So just call the number down below and Dana will answer and take care of you just like family.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I got George Rice. George, in case people don't know who you are, talk a little bit about yourself, what you do in the community.
Local entrepreneur, born and raised down here. Did a good portion of my life in the military, came back down, odd jobs, started up odd companies from a small oil company that I helped some veteran friends with, and now owning and operating a brewery here in the Rio Grande Valley.
Dude, entrepreneurship is hard for me. I can imagine. highly overrated. When you add alcohol into the damn mix.
Oh, it gets even worse. I always laugh when you go on social media. You have all these oh, I'm an entrepreneur, blah blah blah, and I'm looking. I was like, what is he doing? Like, what entrepreneurship is he doing? I'm looking, and they're selling like solar panels or something. I'm like, no.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that it's been a constant theme on this podcast is entrepreneurship is fucking hard, man. You have these really high highs and you have those really low lows, and the pandemic didn't help.
It's feast or famine.
Yeah.
It's either you hit it big or you're completely starving. And I think every entrepreneur starves. I think that's part of it. It's part of the growing, it's part of the learning curve and growing thing. And honestly, from what I've read, people in our age group, are the best suited for it because you've already gone through a decent amount of life lessons, and they're saying entrepreneurs in their late 30s and early 40s are the most successful entrepreneurs in the United States. I'm like, okay, I'm right there in the middle. Like, where does the success part come in at?
And I don't think many people know, but you got a full-time job, and 5x5 is on top of that.
It's unhealthy hobby, yes.
So talk about that. What do you do for an actual living, and then transition into what you do after hours, or not even after hours, right? Because you do it before, after, in between.
I work a government job from pretty much 9 to 5, and pretty much serving our veteran community throughout the state. And I do that. I provide oversight with contractors, making sure they're following VA compliance, and it's mostly an oversight position, and that's what I do full time. And it pays well, and it keeps my family fed. And then with everything else, I used to make a butt ton of money back in the day in the oil field, like well into the six figures. Mm-hmm. And then when I was like, man, I'm really tired of working for people, and I was doing my own stuff. And then I was like, okay, I can work for the state, and I can get this local projects up started at the same time. And that's what I did. I took the job, and at the same time getting the business up and running.
So let me ask you why. Like, if you have a 9-to-5 job that pays really good, why would you even venture off into something that's iffy? If it's like shit, like if this fails, then you just wasted your time.
I'm very ambitious. I don't want. I could play it safe right now and retire by the time I'm 60 or 55. But what's the fun in that? I want to be retired by the time I'm in my 50s. So I want to build something up.
Push it as much as you can now.
And when I'm young, before I start stroking and having a heart attack and stuff, and be able to enjoy my later years, and not just like, okay, I got $2,000 to deal with here.
Yeah.
Like, what can I do this month? No, I don't want to get that. I want to be a point in my life where I look at my wife. I'm like, you know what? Let's go to Alaska. Like, what? Yeah, just for a couple of days. Let's go. I want to get to that point. I want to be able to
get up and do whatever the hell you want to do.
Whatever I want. And that's my goal.
Living life on your own terms, I think, is the most rewarding and the most stressful.
I've lived my life under other people's terms, and even though there's security in it and everything like that, but, I rather make my own way, if that makes any sense. Being independent, in the military, you don't have that option. Everything's structured from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, to what you eat, to when you eat. Even if you're in a leadership position, all the way to the highest ranking general to the lowest ranking private, it's still very, very structured. And that's where a lot of veterans actually mess up at, is when they get out, they don't have that structure. I was able to repurpose myself really quickly and okay, I want to do something that's going to benefit me and my family,
right?
And not someone else.
Interesting. Let me ask you this: obviously, you got your hands full, and you got entrepreneurship. You served in the Army. Have you ever gone through depression?
Yes.
Talk about that, because I think this is something that people don't really touch on. I have asked Robert from the Queen Isabella Causeway, he suffers PTSD, depression. And he asked me one day, do you suffer from it? And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, if you can answer, I don't think so, then you've never gone through it.
So to me, depression, you're in a low point and it's just how you react. Some people just sit there and squabble and, they get flooded in and they just go deeper and deeper and deeper. And the way I look at things is that if I feel like I'm in that funk, I know the way to get out of it is to work my way out of it. So I concentrate on something else. I concentrate on myself. I concentrate on my business. I concentrate on my family. I put my focus, instead of dwelling on all the ills in my ills that I'm going through at the time or whatever is causing that depression. I concentrate on something that I know long term is going to be beneficial for my family or for myself, and it gets me out of it. It happens at least a couple times a week. Where
wow.
I'm like, oh, I don't want to do it, and then I start thinking, I was like, okay, what good is going to come from being in this funk? Nothing. So I might as well ignore it. Yeah. Someone posted something the other day. I was laughing my ass off because it's really true. He was like, the most dangerous people out there is someone that says, well, it is what it is. And I was thinking about it, he's absolutely correct, because they don't let the stupid shit get to them. They're like, well, it is what it is. I'm not going to change it. I might as well move on. Those are the most dangerous people.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right, man. Because there's quite a few people that will just not stop at anything, and I've been seeing it lately, and I think the pandemic kind of screwed that up for a lot of people, because the morals of people just went down. 100,000 businesses closed. How does that make you feel as a business owner?
It sucks for me, because I thrive on other people's success. My business model is the better these restaurants and bars down here do, the better I do. So with them, when they got hit hard, I got hit hard, because that's my source of income. I'm that little sparrow on the back of the hippo, eating the ticks. Yeah. So if they aren't thriving, I'm not thriving. So it hurt, and seeing all these people hurt. But at the same time, there's always silver linings. You see these amazing pivots. I'll give you an example, Delgado's, from the Delgado Collective. Yeah. Man, they pivoted fast and quick and very successful. And they had a lot of hardship on the way and a lot of turbulation in their business and stuff, but they made it work, and they came out swinging, and they came out smelling like roses from this pandemic.
You kind of had to, man.
You didn't have a choice. Either you pivot and swing, or you going down into that depression and you ain't coming out. And there's a lot of people that went down there and didn't come back out.
Yeah, and they still haven't come out. And it sucks, because a lot of them were my friends. A lot of them just lost businesses. I remember talking to one of the persons from the Texas Restaurant Association, and she was like, if you don't support your local businesses now, they're not going to be there when we're come out of this pandemic.
They're not.
Sure as hell. She's right, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane, man.
And the corporate ones are coming in, sucking them all up. You see a huge corporate expansion right now in restaurants and bars across the U.S. and especially across South Texas. I'm like, I always tell people, support local. Find out if it's locally owned. Because it has a compounding effect, not just for that business, but for the community around it. Because you're not going to get these large corporate companies that are investing in the local community. Yeah. The local businesses, though, they do. They're the ones sponsoring the softball teams, the soccer teams, the kids, cheerleaders, all that stuff. They're the ones doing local fundraisers every time there's something wrong. And we see that all the time where I'm at in Mission. Every time anything goes wrong, where someone needs help, all these local businesses are coming together.
I've seen that in the City of Mission Facebook group page. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, go Mission.
I see it. There you go. So let me ask you about Mission specifically, because I've had the podcast in Edinburgh and McAllen. What's life like in Mission going on right now? Like, is there growth? What's going on in the city?
There's massive growth. McAllen's been stagnant for probably about the last decade. Bad EDC policies. Well, not EDC policies. The EDC in McAllen had no teeth. So, there was no really grass. I mean, their biggest claim to fame is, oh, we got David Buster's. Oh, great. You brought an outside entity that's taking away from locals. And not only that, but you're taking local businesses that pay taxes. You're taking their money to incentivize them to take more business. Like, that was their biggest claim to fame. And I'm like, it was horrible. It was just a really bad business idea, at least in my opinion. I mean, and they brag about it. Like, look what we did. I'm like, I don't see the net positive. And if you look at it, David Buster's isn't doing too hot. Yeah. So the city's not really gaining a return on its investment. They're not investing in local at all, or at least that's what I saw when I experienced it. When I started the brewery, I actually looked around, and we looked at McAllen. And probably within the first month of us looking at McAllen, we realized this is not a healthy option for us.
Why? Is it because they just don't give incentives to local businesses?
Not even incentives. We were asking for them to stay out of the way, and they couldn't stay out of the way. They wanted us to put a grease trap in for a brewery.
Wow.
We don't produce grease.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. They wanted to charge us a surcharge on wastewater, even though our wastewater actually cleans the water system. Huh. And, Austin actually pays their breweries, or financially incentivizes their breweries to dump their wastewater in their sewage system because it cleans it out. And they're like, well, we're not paying you. It's like, I'm not asking you to pay me. I'm asking you not to charge me.
Right.
There's a difference. And they're like, I'll pay for the water. I'm asking you not to charge me extra for something that's actually helping you. An oven suppression system over a stainless steel brew house. And I was just like, can you show me a brewery in the United States that has an oven suppression system over it? Well, these are all our standards. I mean, so there's no there's no compromise. Like in San Antonio, when you open up a business over there, they actually assign you a caseworker, and it gets you through the entire process. McAllen, it's like, good luck, here you go.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, oh crap, and it's a lot of stuff. And like, so when I did the marketability study, it was going to cost me an extra $380,000 to do a business in McAllen. That's not including the retail price, like at properties and stuff. Just all the stuff they wanted that I had to have. Like there was the one place we were looking at, there was like an 8-foot square, like a 16 square foot area of grass. I was gonna have to install an irrigation system for it.
Wow.
I was like, this is insane. Can I just go out there with a hose once a week, and just water it? Like, no, like, no, it was just ridiculous. So we looked around, and Mission's EDC is very, very progressive with their business mentality and stuff. And you see it across the valley. The valley's economically blowing up, and COVID really shut that momentum down, but it's coming back swinging. Yeah, you have like the Kilman development going on in South Mission right now. They're basically building a Helotes or Woodlands, like up in Houston in South Mission.
Wow. Okay.
Massive complex, a lot of housing, entertainment district, shopping, a river walk, a lot of green space. What they're building down there and their concept's absolutely amazing. Now, granted, we try to do that with up here in Edinburgh. No, not in Edinburgh.
Los Lagos.
Tres Lagos. Mm-hmm. Amazing concept. The problem is one builder, houses right on top of each other. So they took these amazing concepts they have up in Austin, Houston, and San Antonio, and they brought it down here, but they didn't get the primary principle behind the concept, is that it's not only is it comfortable living, but there's a little bit of space between the houses. Yeah. They're like right on top of each other.
That's true. Me and my wife looked out for property out there, and it's just, that's not where we want to live.
Yeah. And it's a great, I love the winding roads, the parks. It's ideal. I want to live there so bad, but I just can't get over the houses. I look at the houses, I'm like, is that stucco? No, I'm good. I'm like, I'm good.
What do you have going on at 5x5 right now? I know you had some new beers that just came out, right?
We're always releasing new beers in the tap room, but our biggest focus right now is market expansion. I always tell people that, there was like, oh, the bar. I was like, it's not a bar, it's a tap room, but we're production focused. So our focus is producing as much volume of beer as possible. And it's business-wise, is very risky. It's long-term benefit, short-term pain. And we've had a lot of short-term pain. But we've been able to grab such a massive market footprint locally without having to put hardly any money into advertising. Most of it's guerrilla advertising that we do is just, community goodwill and just getting out there and just making sure our name's out there. And we're in like I want to say 340 accounts from Victoria all the way to
That's awesome, man.
Laredo. And we're about to, in the next month or so, we're going to be pushing up into Del Rio and El Paso, which is great because, you know, every time someone goes to the store and they get a beer, they're like, oh, let me look at this can, like Mission, Texas.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like,
there was a brewery in Mission before, right?
No,
never been. Okay. Mm-mm. For some reason, I thought there was.
We had a brewery and distillery way back in the day. I want to say it was like 1912 or 1920s. We had a brewery down here. But, you know, Prohibition. And the funny thing is about our market is that we just hit the number of breweries in the United States that we had before Prohibition. Barely.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because Prohibition knocked everything out. It like, you know, it was like the hurricane for the alcohol industry. They're like,
wow.
Killed everything. And then when it ramped back up, you had a couple big boys in there that controlled everything, the entire market. AB InBev and those guys, they had everything. They had everything controlled.
Interesting.
And so like the craft brewery scene, it's kind of funny. You're like, oh, it's this new thing. And it's like, actually, this is what beer used to be like. I'm not talking about the weird hazy IPAs or pickle bills or stuff like that, but I'm talking about like Irish Reds and stouts. This is what beer is. It's not this, you know, watered down rice beer that you get at, you know, from your Coors Light or something like that. You know, this is actually what beer used to be.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, it's new. I'm like, no, not really. It's been around a lot longer than the freaking that Coors rice beer that you're drinking over there. When
you were doing the market research for 5x5, what was an interesting fact that you saw about the Rio Grande Valley? I guess
we consume more alcohol than any other region in the state per capita.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, we got a drinking problem down here. It's like, well, we can help with this. And that it wasn't just that, the massive volume of alcohol that we consume, especially beer that we drink down here. It's just like in the U.S., craft beer represents anywhere between 28 to 30% of the market. In Texas, it's at like 21, 22%. In the Valley, it's at like 12%. Oh, wow. So there's a lot of market to grow, a lot of market to grow.
So when you put like a plan together, what does that look like? Knowing these statistics, like what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, people look at it differently. People are like, oh, well, they only maintain 11 or 10% of the market down here, so it's not a good market to get into because there's no thing. It's like, well, that's the reason why it's not there, because no one's pushing into that market. But if you look at other areas like Boston, which is a lot of craft beer, upstate New York, even Austin, where, you know, good luck finding a Coors Light in upstate New York on tap. It's going to be, in Austin on tap. It's difficult. Unless it's a chain restaurant, you're not going to find it. Like, it's just a big wall of all these other beers from all these other breweries from across the state and country. And down here, it's the exact opposite. You know, it's good luck finding a local beer on tap.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it just depends on how you look at it. So I looked at it as like, man, this is a massive market opportunity for us, while the big boys are looking at it as like, you know, craft beer's not taking down there. We're not going to concentrate or put any emphasis in. So it opened the floodgates for us to be able to get in there, and we're able to get in there quick. When
I was at Rainy Street last time in Austin, I remember going back in the day, and it was awesome because they renovated all the houses, drink craft beer. I think a few years ago when I went, now you can get your Bud Lights and your Miller Lights and all that. So I was like, it's not the same feeling, man. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to come here anymore. Yeah. Do you ever have those people that go into your tap room and ask for a Coors Light or a Miller Light?
All the time. And when you tell them, like, no, we don't make it, it's like, what do you mean you don't make Dos Equis? It's like, well, we do not make our competitors' beer. Like, and they have this bewildered look on their face. Like, they're legitly confused. And I'm like, we make everything here. Like, so why don't you make Dos Equis? I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's a company. Like, they make it at their place. Like, we're a company. You know, this is our beer.
We make our stuff.
And, you know, and they just still look at you like completely confused. Like, and, you know, we still have people, oh, you're a bar. Like, no, we're not a bar. We're a brewery. We're a manufacturing facility. Yes, we run a retail space, but that's not our primary function. Our primary function is producing beer.
It's interesting because I've gone to a lot of places, and my wife's one of them. Is like, let me just get a Miller Lite. It's like, they don't have that here. It's like, I don't get it. Anyways, all right, we'll be right back. We're going to touch on our sponsors.
Hey folks, there's a pandemic, an epidemic, and it's all across our country, and the RGV is a hot spot for it. I'm not talking about COVID. I am talking about bad credit. Don't let bad credit rob you of your dreams of a nice home, of a nice car. Don't let bad credit rob you of tens of thousands of dollars of high interest payments over your lifetime. Get it fixed. give us a call. Beretta Credit Repair. We're right here in the RGV, 956-313-7957. Give us a call. You'll be glad you did.
What's up, guys? We are back with George Rice. George, what is the next 5 years look like for 5x5, or what projects do you have coming up next?
We outgrew our facility. We've outpaced our production, and we've had massive growth every year. Anywhere between 200 to 300% growth every year.
How much beer are you pushing out of that place?
About 400 barrels a month.
Wow,
which is a lot. Between the tap room, in-house wholesale and out-house wholesale, we're at about 400 barrels a month.
Wow.
Which is a lot of beer. That's about 1,600 kegs a month.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good fucking job, man. I love hearing that, dude. Like, I love hearing about value. People that I know are achieving big ass shit. I love that, dude. I love that.
It's the same thing. Everyone's like, man, you must be rolling in it. I'm like, no, not really.
That's not how it works, man.
Because with growth is expensive. Every time we launch a new product line, like heavy in the market, it costs an abundance amount of money. Marketing, product development, licensing, building the product, getting the product out, and you're not going to see a return on that investment for anywhere between 60 to 90 to 120 days. So, with growth is extremely expensive, and that's why a lot of small companies fail, is that they're not able to reinvest in their company. Mm-hmm. So with me, myself, and our ownership group, we reinvest every single penny that we get back into the company. None of us have collected dividends, and we've been going at it for 3 years. We're still reinvesting. We're not having to put any of our own personal money in it. We're just taking the company's growth and reinvesting it back into the company. So our big plan that we hope to be doing in the next 2 to 3 years is we're moving into a very large facility, about 20,000 square feet. And our goal is to pretty much become, the Shiner Bock of South Texas.
Badass.
And that's the way we're heading with that, at least with that project. And I got a bunch of other side projects online too. Yeah. I'm not sure if you want to talk about those. But
yeah, absolutely, man. Let's talk about it.
My passion actually is not beer.
What is it?
It is bourbon.
Bourbon.
I love bourbon. I love distilled spirits. And in order to make a good distilled spirit, you have to make a good beer. It's the same process that you have to go through. You have to make the distiller's beer before you make the spirit. So I think we perfected one, and I think now we can start venturing into another. So, as we're doing this huge expansion with the brewery, like big, massive, like multi-million dollar expansion, we're also setting up a distillery pretty soon here in the Rio Grande Valley, where we're going to be doing mezcal, rum with Valley sugarcane, bourbon, Texas bourbon, and maybe even vodka.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's going to be fucking cool, dude. Something different for the Valley.
Yeah. We got some amazing themes. My wife's actually partnered up with me on this, and so we're coming up with the different concepts. So we got a real generic South Texas name. I don't know if I should share it or not.
Share it.
Twisted Mesquite Distilling Company.
Wow.
Already got trademark pending. So
you guys, don't you fucking get it.
Don't even try that shit. I will sue the hell out of your ass. I will find funding for this. But everything's locally themed, or at least South Texas themed, or culturally themed. Like the Irish whiskey that we're coming out with is St. Patricio. And it's based off of something very iconic and historic down here in the valley that a lot of people don't even know about. St. Patricio Battalion were Irish immigrants that actually fought for Mexico against Texas.
Oh, shit.
It didn't work out well for them.
Yeah.
Even after the war, Texas Rangers came down here and just like, eliminated like all the families.
Yeah.
Except for a couple of them that ratted them out, and they're very prominent names here.
Wow.
In the area.
Interesting.
I'm not going to rat them out. But
yeah. I get you.
Their family tree, they ratted out the other families and got them all executed.
Oh, jeez.
Very, very prominent local families, so I'm not going to give their names.
You can do research on your own.
Yeah. But like, so, St. Patricio Irish whiskey, and it's, in homage of, kind of like the Six Flags themes, Texas history, Mexico's history, Rio Grande Valley history, our history, our culture's history down here. Because, when people are like, how do you like living down there? Oh, it's North Mexico. It's like, no, it's not North Mexico. And then, it's like, oh, Texas, Austin. Like, no, it's not Austin. It's not San Antonio. We're very, very different.
Completely different.
Yeah. There's no other place in the United States that is anything similar to us. Even San Antonio, it doesn't even come close. We're totally different culture down here. Very, very Tex-Mex, Tejano, and I'm really proud of it. I love this culture. It's very family-based. Yeah, we have a couple downfalls. We're hard-headed. Yeah, we have some corruption issues, but
that's everywhere.
That's everywhere. But we're still a very, very patriotic, very, very country-oriented community that will put the It's very rare that you come across someone that isn't willing to take his shirt off his back to help out someone in need.
Yeah, and
that's one thing that makes the Valley just stand out above any other place I've been, is that it's very much community oriented, especially, Mission, McAllen, Edinburgh, they're real hardcore community base. I'm not sure if you saw the 4th of July celebration at Edinburgh, but it was
you told me about it, man.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. It reminded me of the Sandlot, the 4th of July celebration. I'm like, oh my, this is what it's supposed to be like. There was an amazing celebration, and you see McAllen, it was like sparklers, and that's it. I'm like,
well, I filmed out at the McAllen one. There was a lot more than sparklers, but it was smaller. Sparklers. It was smaller, and I kind of liked it because after the pandemic, now they're opening this up to everybody. I think they might have been overwhelmed, so I kind of like that it was a little bit smaller. Families out there were having fun, but it was small in comparison.
I went to both, and I'll tell you what, I hands down, that was amazing over there.
I would have loved to go.
It felt so like, it just felt great. Like this, it was so miserably hot out there. It was just so much positive energy in the air,
awesome,
and you could actually feel it. I'm not one of those hippie guys, oh, the energy's good or bad, but it just, like, man, you just couldn't help but just to smile and relax.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. Yeah. Let me ask you this. When people say that you have to leave the Valley to find success, I'm on the fence with that, because I feel like sometimes you do have to get out, and then sometimes you don't. What do you feel about that?
Everyone should travel. I mean, you have to travel to broaden your horizon. But with people saying that you have to leave the Valley to find success, I don't agree. There's massive opportunities everywhere, from industrial, commercial, retail, all across the Valley, in any aspect of any industry you want to get into. SpaceX.
Yeah.
Aerospace, engineering, and flight here in the Rio Grande Valley. And all these people, like, there's no opportunities down here. Like, we have $1 billion industry that's just landed in our lap. Yeah. And just energy industry. You have, going to be one of the largest trade ports of, liquefied natural gas that's coming down here as well into Cameron County, into Port of Brownsville. And actually using the port for what it was intended for, which is industrial traffic. They trenched that out back in like the 40s or 50s. And they haven't really been using it that much, and now they are. There's massive economic opportunity down here, and for entrepreneurs, businessmen, and everything. And then foreign trade. We got the foreign trade zone right here. Yeah. All this agriculture coming up. I mean, you have some breaking technology. I'm not sure if I can get in trouble with this or not, but you have Scantech, for example, which is in South McAllen. McAllen actually did a good job with this one. Scantech is bringing this technology down where it's bombarding fruits and vegetables with electrons, and it's degrading everything down to the cellular level. So it's killing all the bacteria, everything off. So instead of running them through these steam chutes, which degrades the fruit, and now you only get 10 or 15 days of life off of it before it decomposes, now they're able to do this, and they're actually able to give it 30, 40 days of life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And you're talking about a multi-million-dollar facility right down here. And
Wow.
you're not going to be able to find this technology anywhere else in the United States. It's just here. I mean, they have had this technology out for a while, but sized up to the way it does to be able to do 18-wheelers at a time, you know, you don't have anything like that.
That's pretty insane.
And it's right down here in the Rio Grande Valley.
There's so much stuff in here that nobody really knows about. I guess nobody really ever talks about it.
No.
This is the cool thing. What I love about the podcast is because you get to hear people's experience, which is exactly why I started the podcast. Let me ask you this. The Queen Isabella Causeway, it's been a part of my life now for the past year. I know you've been following it. There's a specific part where we talk about the Coast Guard, and I'm asking you this because you're in that area, military. When we talk about like the Coast Guard there that night, like how does it? Because on Facebook, I was having an argument with a woman. She was like, well, you guys don't know what you're talking about. You weren't even there. I wasn't there, but Robert was there. We have like affidavits, legal documents talking about how the Coast Guard was incompetent that night. Or how does that make you feel, I guess, being in the military? How does that make you feel when we talk about that?
No, it's accurate. I mean, it really is accurate unless it's a structured thing. Unless you have good command and oversight, unless you already have contingency plan in place and you expect these guys to react with multi-million dollars worth of equipment, they're going to fuck up. It's just the nature of the beast. It's going to happen. You're talking about a bunch of 18 and 19-year-old guys on a freaking boat that's $700,000 hauling ass over there to help out. I don't see how it would be successful.
Yeah.
It's just you know, especially Coast Guard, the puddle jumpers.
I'm gonna get shit for that.
Talk a lot of trash.
No, but it's interesting because I'm always at the point where I want to ask more questions, and it's like I always I guess mute myself from asking those questions. But that is the reason for the podcast because
honestly, I mean, they probably didn't react well. You know, that you're talking about a quick reaction force, and when the quick reaction force for the Coast Guard's called up, what most of the time what it's for a boat that's sinking, drowning. It's for drug smuggling. No one was ready for a causeway to come down, so they're out of their element. They don't have a contingency plan in place. And now you're asking a bunch of 18, 19, and 20-year-old kids to figure it out right now. Yeah. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, it's not going to look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an interesting reliving the accounts that they were talking about. It's just there's so many things that happen tonight. It's crazy.
It's like me as an infantryman. Okay, I'm good at closing width on the enemy and destroying them, or at least I was when I was in better shape. And then out of nowhere, they come in. Okay, I need you to go over here to the chow hall and make freaking 800 chicken plates right now. They're gonna suck. Yeah. Straight up, they're gonna taste horrible. Like people probably gonna die from eating it. It's not in the norm. And have to react quickly to it. It's the same concept.
Let me ask you this: do you think that bridge can collapse again?
After what I heard earlier, I am very skeptical about driving over the bridge for a while. So
let me give some people some context. We were talking off camera, and the other day we went to go film there at the island. We went through the do not enter sign, and you have to kind of navigate your way in there. And the captain was like, y'all want to go in there? It's like, hell yeah, let's go. So we went in there, and if you're familiar with the Florida collapse that happened at the condo, they took pictures weeks before, and they were showing the rebar that was exposed from the concrete. And they were saying every time that the rebar is exposed and oxidized, it expands and it cracks the concrete. Well, I saw the exact same thing down on the pillars that night. And I got it on video, and I've been sharing with everybody. Like everybody I talk to, I've been sharing it with them.
I am really scared about going over the bridge now after hearing that. I mean, that's a big bridge, and that's a tall fall.
87 feet, man.
Yeah, and there's a lot of traffic on there, and there's a lot of weight that goes over on top of that thing, a lot of vibration. Yep. So I mean, they have a compromise, like what you're saying, with rebar exposed, and now it's open to seawater. So you're gonna get oxidation. Now you're going to have expansion of the rebar, which is going to create, micro tears, and then the vibration on top of that. and the bridge was supposed to last for 40 years. And how many years old
it's
is
40.
it?
It's 46 years old. They said that it's long overdue. From what I understood, it was supposed to have a 75-year lifespan. But then I talked to somebody who said that doesn't make any sense. So the 40 years, I think it was a senator that was saying like it's long overdue. Like we need to do something about this. If they start today in July 2021, it won't get started for another 6 years. A new bridge. Gage Davila, which is the reporter from Port Isabel Press, he was saying that every year, tons of people are on that bridge for hours at a time, causing that stress. How many people do you think go over that bridge every year?
Oh, it has to be in the millions. It has to be easy.
And when there's accidents, they shut it off, and there's people stuck on the bridge, just like the other day, dude. It's
they need to come up with a more comprehensive plan on. They need to get that second bridge built. I mean, for one, the traffic's already validating that, and has been validating that for over a decade. Yeah. Shoot, more than that. I remember going to spring break and 3 hours on the causeway. Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind at the time, you know.
Yeah,
like, hey,
of course not.
You know, but you know, now I'm like, you know, I'm with my kids and stuck on the causeway for 2 hours. I'm like, someone's gonna die. Someone's gonna die. Do I have my gun in here? No, the wife took it out. You know, yeah, it's been long overdue. And on top of that, you know, what you're telling me, like, I don't know why there isn't a huge emphasis on this, on both the county, the city, and the state, and even federal government on rectifying that problem. Honestly, if something happens, in my opinion, it's on their hands.
Yeah. It's interesting, and we've been following all the corruption that happened before and after the whole damn thing, man. It's just like it's whole another thing, man. Like this one little thing that we're talking about is just one little speck of everything, man. It's crazy. So what else do you got going on with 5x5? I'm interested because as a Valley entrepreneur, I think that you give hope to other people that are going this entrepreneurial route. And I think a lot of people are starting in this journey and they're trying to explore it, because I think the Valley gets everything late. For some reason, I don't know.
We do. My dad, my parents aren't from here. My dad's a saltwater boy that grew up working the saltwater as a crabber and fisherman, you know, on the Maryland, up in the Chesapeake Bay. And my mom's from, you know, upstate New York, you know, right outside the Indian Reservation. And but we were born and raised down here. But both of them were running away from something and came down here. But my dad always referred to the Valley as the land of mañana. I'm like, what does that mean? It's like, oh, we'll do it tomorrow. Like, you know, like the only things you don't mess with in the Valley is Friday night lights, football. Like you don't screw with that. You're going to get hurt. And barbacoa on Sunday. You know, two things you can't touch. Like, you know, don't you dare touch that. But other than that, everything else is, you know, is compromisable. Yeah, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it tomorrow. So, you know, land of mañana. And I never really understood that until I was in the military and everything's fast paced. Now. And then, you know, being in different parts of the country, you know, different, you know, especially New York, you know, everyone's jerks up there. And you realize just how slow we are down here. I'm not talking about mentally. I'm just talking about how laid back we are. Yeah. Like, you know, we're all those hippies out in California. Yeah, man. But just with, you know, a Tejano accent. But yeah, we're really laid back. And it's, again, I love this culture because of it. It's easygoing. Like, you know, this is definitely a place that you could relax and easy go. And yeah, there's not much to look at. We're flat. We're hot. We're humid. And, you know, we overreact to stuff, you know.
Dude, mosquitoes are crazy, man.
And we do overreact to shit.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. But,
toilet paper! Gas! You know, freaking, oh my God, we overreact to shit so bad.
No, I mean, the mosquito thing is really bad. It's horrible, man.
I've gone through about 4 cans, just the self-defense.
Just on the way in, man.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah,
Let me ask you this. We talked about SpaceX. Blue Origin just went up this morning and did the first space, I guess the cusp of what they would consider international space. And also a few weeks ago, it was with, what the hell's his name? Richard Branson.
Yeah.
Those looking at that is super exciting for me, dude, because I see the potential of what it's starting. And you got these people that are like, whoa, they're not even talking about space exploration. They're talking about like commercial travel. I think this is fucking cool, dude. How does that like make you feel?
I grew up watching Star Wars, man. I'm all for this. Like, can we speed this along? Let's do this. Come on, man. There has to be a planet out there with oil that we can invade. Let's do this. Come on, man. Like, come on.
Let's collect it for ourselves.
Yeah, when they announced Space Force, I'm like, I saw all the memes with space gunners on freaking door gunners on the shuttle. I'm like, how do I sign up for this? This looks awesome. And they're like, no, it's not like that. I'm like, damn it.
So you would go up in space?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm all about that stupid high risk stuff. That there's a strong possibility you're going to die. I love that stuff.
Yeah, there's a strong possibility, man.
You know, my buddy, one of my partners, Jorge, is trying to get me to go down to Santillo to go rock climbing. I'm like, dude, I weigh 300 pounds. I can barely pick up my own body weight. And you want me to climb up a straight vertical cliff with you? Oh no, there's a rope. Let me see the rope. That's a skinny ass rope. No, this is not going to happen. Like, I'm all for this stuff, but like, you have to do it
realistically. I get
yeah,
you.
but a space shuttle, like, yeah, I'm just going to use the freaking liquid oxygen out there to get my ass up. I don't have to do anything physical.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's awesome, dude, because it's opening up the possibility for, like, when flying cars, right, we'll be able to fucking go to another planet with, who knows, dude? Like, it's going to happen.
Yeah, under planet Terra engineering, stuff like that.
It's going to happen, dude.
You know,
this is the beginning of it.
And every time you go into a field like that, you're forced to, the scientific community is forced to re-engineer stuff, to look at stuff, and that's when they start having scientific breakthroughs. Like 30 years ago, if you came up with the concept like, hey, you know, to cut down the cost economically, we're going to make these rockets so they can land on their own after they're shot up instead of just disposing of.
Yeah.
They would have said you were nuts. Like, oh shoot, witch trial type stuff. Like, nah, this person is crazy. Let, you know, get him out of here.
Yeah.
But now it's, you know, it's a reality. You know, it's the way it is. It's the way our space industry is going. Like, reusable, which is cutting down the cost. So now we're able to use more of that money to invest into engineering and invest into going further and farther and beyond. Wait, what movie is that? No, TV show. Star Trek. Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah, here we go. It's amazing to watch. And I love the fact that the Valley is part of that.
Yeah, we can see that.
We're
dude.
a huge part of that.
It's awesome. I don't think people understand, like, when I would see the rockets blow up, everybody's like, it's a big failure. It's like, dude, that's what they're doing. They're testing it to see where it exploded so they can fix it for the next time.
They're getting data on each one. Like, okay, where was the engineering flaw? Where's the engineering flaw? They're doing, you know, they're doing all these dry runs and they're doing a live run, and then they found out, okay, we can't pitch it at this because this happens. And they're putting things. So if you notice, each flight, better and better and better. Yep. And now what are they working on? They're working on efficiency, and they're working on maximizing a payload. Like, you know, and it was because of all those failures.
Exactly.
You're not successful the first time, especially entrepreneurs. I mean, that guy knows best and most. You're never successful the first time. Like,
so advice that you would give these young entrepreneurs that are coming up, especially specifically in the Valley, what would you tell them?
Variables. Variables are a bitch. You have to look at all your variables. Things that you don't think aren't going to be a big deal will become a big deal. You know, there's 100 different aspects to any type of business plan, from the financial to the production to the workflow and to marketing. You know, you have to be not an expert in each one, but you need to be a jack of all trades in order to be an entrepreneur. You have to have an understanding of finances. You have to have an understanding of branding. You have to have an understanding of marketing. You have to have an understanding of social media, which I absolutely suck at. So
which is dominating the world right now.
Yeah, but you have to be able to touch every single aspect of your company and have a really good understanding of it. And yes, you can outsource a lot of that stuff, but you need to have an over company vision, and don't get stuck in the weeds too. And me and my wife are always arguing about this. Like, I always tell her, like, you need to get away from the 50-foot view. And what I mean by that is, like, you need to have a 30,000-foot view of the operation. Like, you're way up here in the clouds and you're looking down and you're strategically moving stuff. Like, you're playing chess. Yeah. You don't want to be down there on the board being the pawn or the rook or even the queen. Like, get out of the 50-foot view and get up there in the sky so you can look and have an overall encompassing. When you get down in the weeds, you're going to miss the strategy. Yeah, you're handling a problem right there, but you're missing that freight train driving right past you. Yeah. And that's my biggest thing, is just have your strategic oversight and strategic view, and do not get stuck in the weeds.
Why do you think 5x5 has been so successful?
A lot of bad decisions on alcohol.
A lot of bad decisions.
Work ethic. Work ethic from my general manager to our taproom manager. We have almost a 0 turnover rate on employees because the only employees that we've lost is guys have been recruited into the military. But a lot of it's due is that we pay as much as we can afford to pay. So when we do expand and grow, we're making sure we expand and grow our employees at the same time. And having a 0 turnover rate is really beneficial for us because now we don't have to waste money into training a new employee and stuff like that. And so work ethic's the biggest thing. We had a huge meeting this morning with our sales team, and it's like, you know, I'm going to question your all's work ethic right now. Get your shit together. Like, and I explained to them like why they had a negative impact on their company if they didn't get their shit together. So I let them know, like, I'm not firing you guys. I'm just letting you know if it keeps on going down this path, that is the option.
Right.
And like, let that
I
fire
think they
real
said
quick.
that hiring is no, firing is knowing, hiring is guessing or guessing.
Yeah.
So you don't know exactly.
But we have an amazing staff, all the way from our sales team to, you know, our GM, you know, everyone, even the ownership group, you know, they help out a lot and stuff. So it's, you know, that's a lot of the success is just the work ethic.
That's badass. That's good to hear. I'm glad y'all are doing well. I remember during the pandemic.
And we're really strategic too.
Yeah.
We're very, very strategic. Like a lot of people are like, oh, a bunch of dumb vets. And like, they don't realize just how cunning and how vindictive some of these guys are. Some of these guys, I mean,
you see it from a different lens. Like,
oh yeah, big time. And it's not just me. It's like, I got, you know, 5 buddies of mine, partners, and we all look at things from a very, very different perspective. And so when people are trying to flex on us one way or another, I'm like, you're barking up a tree you don't want to bark up.
yeah.
Like, because,
give us an example of what you mean. Like a very strategic move that you all made together, because I would never be able to see that because they obviously have been trained one way.
Our overall business model, we knew that retail wasn't going to float the company, or that it could float the company, but we weren't going to be able to grow. So we knew, okay, we need to invest into wholesale, which is getting out to the bars and restaurants, and we need to cut our price down. I'll tell you the truth. When we sell our kegs out to market, sometimes we actually sell them at a loss. Wow. We're actually not making money on it. But what it does, it increases market exposure. And as we expand and as we grow, our price index, you know, scale to economy goes down, and we're able to keep those. And we already have those established markets. And we already have those. So, you know, now, you know, here we are year 3, and now we're actually making some money. And it's all going back into the company. But, you know, that was a strategic point. One that we had to fight over, too, because they're like, hey, you know, we're not making money at the start. I'm like, okay, I understand it's short-term pain, but long-term benefit if it works out. And it's been working out. Yeah,
that would be kind of equivalent to like me doing some work for somebody and then they're not going to pay, but I get to put my name on it. It's strategic.
Well, that's part of guerrilla marketing, and that's part of branding. That's good. Like your name is very well known. Like every time I see someone talk about branding or anything, I always see you get tagged like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, oh shit! Like, you know,
I've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah, but I always see your name being popped up with the branding stuff, and you know, so that means that you know you have a strong brand with your marketing and even with your podcast. And you know, I can't wait to see. I guarantee your podcast, or not the podcast, but your show on your work on the Causeway is probably going to be on Amazon Prime or HBO Plus.
That's the goal, man. And we haven't really told that many people, but we're working on a documentary right now, and we're filming out at the island, and we're just gathering so much content. I mean, we started working with the PSJ Theater Club that won twice last year state championships for their documentaries.
Oh wow!
We teamed up with them, dude. And dude, I'm telling you, man, like we have something. I personally have something to prove.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And I just stumbled upon this badass story, man.
It's awesome because, I mean, you're already well known. And if it does hit the moon, which I think it is, you know, everyone's going to feel like they have ownership of it. Yeah. I mean, even though it's your baby, everyone's like, I remember talking to him about this. Yeah. You know, it's mine, you know, or, you know, they have emotional attachment to it.
Which I don't mind at all because this is not my story. I'm just being the facilitator of being able to get it out there. But it's going to be interesting, man, because I'm really excited about what's coming.
Yeah.
And I think that's proof for everybody in the Rio Grande Valley. It's like, if you want to do something, just fucking try it. And if it fails, fail, and then move forward and then try something else. So with that being said, I'd like to thank you very much. Do you want to let everybody know what you got coming up, where you're located, what you...
So we're located in Mission, Texas. We have a big food park, Mission Food Park. We have the largest food park in the valley right there in front of the brewery. We have about 8 food trucks. We got Jerry Liao out there with, he has about 4 or 5 different food trucks, from tacos to seafood to you name it, ramen food. We got Brick Fire Pizza. We got a barbecue joint. And then we have the brewery there, a lot of live music. But if you don't want to go outside, that's fine. We're in about, again, 380 locations, from H-E-B to Stripes to Chili's, and you name it, all the way from South Padre Island up north to Victoria, all the way across to Laredo, and soon to be in El Paso and Del Rio.
And what's been your biggest achievement so far?
Producing enough beer to, get at least 5 standing armies completely drunk. I think that's why I'm like, man, we produce so much beer that we could actually flood out a good portion of Rio Grande Valley. To me, that's my biggest achievement.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody for joining the podcast. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Hey guys, I don't know if you knew this, but you can actually start solar with nothing up front, nothing down. My name's Johnny Garza. I'm with the McAllen Valley Roofing and Solar LLC. I'm the acting solar specialist here, and I'm here to make you aware of the incentives that we have. To give you an example, I had a customer come in and they wanted a roof. The roof was going to cost $12,000 to $14,000. And I offered them the choice of going solar. They said they were thinking about it, they just didn't know how to go about it. Said simply, just give me your light bill and I'll go off of the usage that you've been using already in your home, so I can make the system big enough to sustain your home. I also told them that I can include the roof. They wouldn't have to give me anything down. They can keep the money in the bank and I could finance it all together. Payment was literally the same or a little bit more than what they were paying for light. We have a 30-year warranty on the system and the marksmanship of the installation. So the sustainability of the system, if anything happens, for example, if we go on the roof and we damage a roof, our warranty covers that repair. So just call the number down below and Dana will answer and take care of you just like family.